Before we even do anything else in this video, I gotta explain something just so the people who already know me understand what's going on, and the people who are new can also understand what's going on. So first thing here, welcome back to day number 136 of 500. If you guys are new and don't know who I am and what I'm doing, just challenge me for myself plus 500 days straight. Get a video up, be consistent no matter what. Doesn't matter if it's good or bad, just get it out there. However, for those of you who aren't new around here and you've been watching me or you watch every now and then, you know typically my videos just consist of what I do in my day. And what I mean by that is if I work out, I'll work out. If I watch some Call of Duty, I'll watch some Call of Duty on here. Just stuff like that, some simple things, because I don't do a whole lot, so I just kind of record the small things that I always do. However, today we're going to take a different approach. And I did it in yesterday's video as well, more of a philosophical approach, if you want to say that, in the sense of today, we're going to be talking about if it's okay to be jealous or not. While I do that, I'm also going to kind of be cleaning my golf clubs. I went to the store this morning and got me some golf stuff and got a brush because I really needed one. So I went ahead and copped me one, along with some more golf balls and a glove because my old one was beat. So let me show you. Just look at this thing. Yeah, it's demolished. I needed a new one. It was time for an upgrade. Now that we've established that, we can jump into this. So growing up, I am the youngest of three brothers, and if you have any older siblings, or even if you are the older sibling, I'm sure you can still relate to this. But I'm the youngest of three brothers, and so growing up, I was always jealous of my brothers, always. And there's always just something that I wanted to strive towards to be as good as them, if not better. And so anytime I saw them do something and it was a very positive thing for them, for me, I'd be just a little bit jealous because obviously that's my older sibling. I want to be them. I want to be better. It is windy. Holy. The mic is not picking it up. And our family is a very sports-minded family. We always have been since I can remember my earliest memories. It's always been sports-related. I feel like the easiest thing to relate to is sports stories. For example, I would go to my brother's soccer tournaments growing up. I would go to their baseball tournaments. I would go to their basketball tournaments. I was at every single one of their games. And naturally, going to every single one of them, of course, I'm going to want to be like them getting older because, one, it's my older siblings anyways. Of course, as the youngest, I'm going to want to be like them, and I'm going to look up to my older siblings who are great role models, I may add. Is this brush actually worth a darn? I don't know. I'm kind of thinking it's not, which is a bummer because I spent 20 bucks on it. If they can't clean this off, then it is a waste. You guys see that? There is so much mud. There we go on my 7-iron. So if it doesn't clean this, I wasted 20 bucks. Oh, well, I need to go find me a wire brush or something to clean this off. And of course, with having older siblings or just siblings in general, again, if you're the older sibling, it's still the same. But it's that sibling rivalry that you guys have. Of course, you guys want the best for each other. Or you should, at least. You should want the best for your siblings. You just want them to do the best, be the best version of themselves, do the best that they can. But in your own heart, you want to be better. You want to do better than them. You want to be better than the next. And you always want to beat your sibling. Again, sibling rivalry. Of course, you want to be better than your own siblings. That's just, it's the greatest to say that, oh yeah, I'm better than you at this, just to have those bragging rights. When in reality, it doesn't even matter because either way, you guys are still going to love each other the same way, no matter if you're better or worse at them than a certain thing. Because that's just the way that it is. That's the way the sibling rivalry goes. If you have siblings, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you don't, then I guess you can't really relate, or I'm sure in some way you can. You have someone who you kind of have a friendly rivalry with. Of course, you want them to obviously do good and be their best, as I was saying, but you also want to push yourself, and you're just constantly pushing each other, and that's what the sibling rivalry is. You're pushing each other to be better, go to that next level when you still want the best for each other. Well, it definitely worked and cleaned it up just a little bit, but gosh dang, that was not worth the effort that it took. I'm going to have to get a better one. This is a waste. You hate to see that. And jealousy is always used in a bad connotation, and it's always seen as a bad word, and I think it's fitting. It's just not the word that I'm looking for to use here, so maybe not jealousy, but admiration. You always admire them. You always look up to them. That's a better way to put it. However, this is where the sports background of our family does come into play, because of course I admire them, as I was saying, and I said that just a moment ago. However, it's not jealousy necessarily, so it might be a little misleading to start off saying jealousy when it's really admiration. I admire to be like them. Ooh, look at a 7 iron now. I figured out the secret. Just need a little bit of water. Add a little bit of water on the club face, and boom, good as new. Okay, we're getting sidetracked here. Let me focus on this for a minute, and then we'll get back to cleaning those here in a moment. But I gotta focus on this. We're getting sidetracked. I know I got a little lost in the sauce there, but hopefully I explained good enough the difference between jealousy and admiration, because jealousy is usually seen as something that's bad and you resent someone for whatever they accomplish, whereas admiration, you want to be like them, you want to build up to it, and it's more motivation. And so a little more background that I probably should have started off with, honestly, is I am now 19. I turned 19 not too long ago. My brother is 21. Yeah, he's still 21, and then my oldest brother is 25, about to turn 26, and even to this day, I still look up to them. Because if there's anybody in my life who I would look up to and admire, it would be my brothers and my parents, because those are the closest people that I have in my life. I mean, I see them dang near every single day, if not every single day, so it only makes sense for me to admire them. And thankfully, I'm able to sit here and tell you guys that me and my brothers all do have a really good bond. Holy crap, it is windy, so apologies if it is picking it up really loud. And thankfully, because of that bond, there's never really been any bad jealousy between us, so to speak, and it's always been good, where we always just want to see each other do better and be better than the next person. I know a good example for this. A good example for this would be when I was younger. I honestly couldn't tell you what age exactly, probably I'd say 6th, 7th grade maybe. And my oldest brother, he was just getting out of school, and he was finishing up his sports career pretty much, because he didn't go on to play at all. And so I was always, just wondering, what do I have to do to take that next step to be as good as him, if not better than him? And I'm going to use baseball as the example here, because his favorite sport was baseball and is also mine. And I think a large reason of that is because of him. I think he played a big part in it, because I went to a lot, and I mean a lot, of his baseball tournaments when I was younger. And so his senior year, when I'd go to these games of his and I would see his career winding down, essentially, I would always see him do something and be like, dang, how can I myself do that when I'm his age? How can I be even better when I am his age? Again, that sibling rivalry, you always want to do better than your older sibling. That's me talking from a personal experience as the youngest sibling. You always want to be better. They always push you to try and make you better than them. And of course, they still want to be better, but it's that sibling rivalry I got to talk about. It's healthy, it's friendly, it's better for all of you guys. I know I'm terrible at explaining that, but if you had siblings, you know exactly what I mean. And so this led me to practicing more, trying to improve, getting even better, asking him all of his tips and tricks, what he did, and replicating those same things to try and get even better than him. Look at here, check these out. We got like some soft golf balls. I don't really know what they are, honestly, but it's perfect, because now I can just practice my form on my swings and not actually be sending them and have to go chase them. Pretty sweet. And yes, I did just clean the clubs to come out here and swing some more with them, but I don't expect to eat them that dirty, and if I do, I got the brush down to clean them. Another good example of this jealousy, so to speak, that I can give you guys is my other brother, when I would be on the same team as him, and this stemmed back all the way to when we were little. I mean, we played on the same teams for a while, and it was never planned really. When it happened when we were younger, it would be one of those situations where they wouldn't have enough or something, and so they'd have me play for them. And heck yeah, I'm gonna play, man. I get to play with my older brother and all of his friends. Heck yeah. Even if it was little 3rd grade me out there playing against 5th/6th graders, when I am clearly very undersized and should not be out on the basketball court with them, I loved it. Loved every second of it. I got to play with my brother. Heck yeah, man. And then I was lucky enough, once we grew up and we were both in high school, I was able to play 2 years of sports with him before he graduated. That was very special, honestly, and I loved it. I mean, I got to share the court with my brother. What else can I ask for? Now we're all 3 old, and we can just play sports with each other in some rec league, so you gotta love that. And if we look at his senior year, that means I already had 2 years before I was in high school to watch him play high school sports, and we're gonna talk about specifically basketball here just to make it a little bit easier. So I watched him play 2 years of high school basketball already, played 1 year on his team, and then now I'm his 2nd year on his team, and thankfully I was good enough as a sophomore to be able to share the court with him and start and be out there majority of the game at the same time as him, and it was great. But don't forget the point of this video. This means I had 2 years to watch him and see the stuff that he already accomplished as a freshman and sophomore on the squad. And then I had to come in and try and live up to those standards and even surpass those standards, which was very hard to do because basketball is his favorite sport. And I'd argue that out of the 3 of us, he's maybe the best at it. I'm never gonna fully admit it because I think I can give him a run for his money, but he probably is. He's definitely the best at soccer, which it's not even any of our favorites, and he was the best at it without even trying, really. So maybe one of these days I'll admit it to him, but not right now. Even if you see this, still not admitting it. I'll still go 1v1 you right now, and I'll give you a run for your money. And I haven't shot a hoop in I don't even know how long. So when I went into my sophomore season and I got the chance to actually be out there with him the entire game and play with him, of course I want to make the most of it. One, because I'm playing with my brother. I'm not going to get this opportunity much longer as he's a senior. And two, I want to prove to him, to myself, to anybody else who maybe cares that I can be just as good, if not better, than him. So do we call that jealousy or what? What do we call it? I'm not really sure. Again, I'm going to call it jealousy, but it's not like it's a bad jealousy. It's a good jealousy. It's a competitive rivalry jealousy between two brothers. And he did his job. He always pushed me to do more, be better, play harder. He always pushed me to take that next step. So to him, I'm very thankful for that. And he's probably thankful I put up the effort that I did to try and help us win some games. I definitely wasn't the main factor in it, but I did help. And then fast forward a little bit, and boom, he's gone. No more soccer with him, no more basketball with him, no more baseball with him. Both my brothers are gone, they're graduated. It's just me left in school. So now I have 2 years of high school where my brothers have both already went through, paved the way, left a legacy for me, left expectations for me from the coaches, from the teachers, and the schoolwork, and anything really you can expect. The expectations are there, they're set, and it's on me to exceed them or meet them, and I want to exceed them, obviously. Again, I want to do better. I want to just get a little bit better than both of them at both anything in life. And so now me, as the youngest, got all this pressure on my shoulders. If you're the youngest of siblings, I'm sure you can relate. You always want to hit those expectations. You do not want to disappoint. You know what they set for you, and you are always trying to reach it. And hopefully you do reach it. If someone is out there, a younger sibling watching this, hopefully you do reach those goals, and hopefully you do become quote unquote better than them or same level. Something else that a lot of people do not talk about is the importance of the leadership role that they give you and the responsibility, because they came before you, so you got to see how they handled things, and you know how to handle them or what to do differently from how they handled things, and it helps a ton. And it was enabled me personally to step into these roles and take that next step. To my own credit, I believe I was able to thankfully meet the standards that they had set for me, meet these expectations, school-wise, grade-wise, sports-wise, whatever aspect you want to say. I think that I was able to meet them for the most part. Now, of course, there'll still be things here and there where they definitely have me beat on, but I definitely didn't disappoint, and I was able to keep up with them and be right there with them, even if I wasn't better. If you're asking me, this is the way it should be, because the blueprint is laid out for you. You've seen both of them go through all their struggles and all their successes, and you see what it takes, what you shouldn't do, everything under the moon. You have seen it. So in my opinion, it should be the youngest siblings who are able to go the furthest and exceed expectations if they play their cards right. Now again, you're not going to be able to exceed every single one unless you are just him. And I wouldn't say I exceeded every single one of them, but I would love to say that I definitely held my own and was able to uphold the standards that they set for me. And so in this aspect, again, I think jealousy is a little bit okay, but make sure it's not bad jealousy. It's good jealousy where you want to always improve and be better. Like I said, that sibling rivalry is the biggest thing that I can relate it to, and with sports specifically, because that is what happened in my life. Also, I did not know this until just yesterday, but on wedges, which this is a 7-iron, but just for example here, wedges, you're supposed to hold your hands like out in front golfing. I didn't know that. Again, I have not golfed a lot. It was less than a year ago the first time I swung a golf club, so I'm still learning a ton. But even recently, found myself, I was like, man, like, why can't I ever seem to catch up to them? Why does it always seem like they're further ahead? And I kind of just had to stop myself and realize they're older. They've already had this experience. They've went through it. I have yet to go through it. I am just now hitting the point where I'm going to be. And I set my expectations a little too high on myself. So to all my younger siblings out there or younger friends or whatever situation it may be, just remember not to always put too much pressure on yourselves. Everyone goes through life differently. Everyone's going to have their own story. And so just because it worked for one person may not work for you. But that's not necessarily what I'm talking about in this situation. I'm talking about just don't put too much pressure on yourself to do things too quickly. Because again, you've got even more time than they did to figure these things out. And you have these people in your lives who should be able to mentor you a little bit and show you the correct ways to do things. Sports was just a big example for me because, again, we were a very sports-oriented family and we did a lot of sports. That is not a good first swing. Wow. So, should you always compare yourself and have jealousy related in some factor? The answer is most definitely no. That's the short answer. But in some aspects, it can be good. Like I said, just sports is my biggest example because I have my older brothers to look up to. So always look up to somebody and have admiration for them and admire them and strive to be like that. But don't be jealous of what they achieve. That is the big takeaway here. If you're wishing bad on somebody and you're jealous of them, that's a problem. You shouldn't be jealous. You should want to be better. And that is how I feel about my older brothers. And hopefully, if I ever surpass them at something, or if I have, they feel the same way, because this shouldn't be jealousy. With that said, I'm going to keep on working on my golf swing for a little bit, because it definitely needs to work. And then I'm going to watch some Call of Duty the rest of the day and just vibe. I don't know what else I'm going to do. So just remember, always make your own lane, but be able to compare yourself to others. And people often say comparison is the thief of joy, but it is also one of the biggest motivators. So don't be scared to compare yourself, especially if you have older siblings like me. That's my main point here. If you are the younger sibling, always strive to be better than them. That should be your goal. And as long as y'all have a good relationship, they should be helping you to get better than them. Of course, like I said before, they want to be better, but they should also be helping you to get better, because that is what family does. And if I could go back and redo this video, I definitely would, and switch up the order a bit, because I'm sure it was a little bit confusing the way I explained this. However, I hope that it made sense and you can piece it all together. Again, if I had more time and I thought through it more, I would have even better points to add in here, and I would make it way more fluid. But I hope you can understand my point. That's going to do it for me today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Day number 136 of 500. Come back for day number 137 tomorrow. Just remember, all in all, use jealousy as a good thing, not a bad thing. And again, it's not even jealousy, more of admiration. So just remember that. It's kind of like golf. Think of it like golf. If it's a bad swing, it could throw your whole game off, throw your mental off, and it could be chalked. But if you use it and you take it and you tweak it and you just add that little extra thing to it, it could turn out great and you can make it into something amazing. So that's all I got. Thank you guys so much for being here. Hope y'all enjoyed today's video. Hope you have a great rest of those days. I love y'all. Peace.